All right, everybody, going live here. Thank you for joining us tonight. I want to say, again, not getting sponsored by Monster. Just need enough to get me through this next hour or so. Okay. So, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me here on January 2nd. This is going to be a cool little bit that I want to get into. As you all know, this is the third album now. We have completed When We Leave, When We Arrive, and When We Rise. And all those have been extremely cool to work on. I am ready to get into the new stuff for sure. So hang with me because we're going to go over everything. Tonight, what I want to do is get the story arcs behind each of the albums and just give you what I was bringing into concept and how each of these flow through the albums and together. So without further ado, let's just dive into it. First up in When We Leave was Future Frontier. I made that, God, how long ago? I think it was November, December of the year before last, so 2019. So much of this was made at the end of 2019 going into 2020. And I wanted to release this album at least, I wouldn't say ahead of time, but I wanted to have enough available. And this was extremely fun. So we're going to first listen to for Future Frontier. All these are in WAV format. I have most everything was created in WAV, AIF, and MP3 because I wanted to have as best quality sound and best availability. Everything that was submitted to all the groups was in WAV, and of course all the services have to compress the files afterwards. So streaming does sound different even from what I'm going to play today. That is the uncompressed lossless audio here. So, all right, I'm going to get out of the way here, but capping on to Future Frontier, initially when I made this one, I already had some apprehension myself when making this, and so it kind of spoke through the song. A lot of in this album, the folks on Earth were looking to leave, trying to escape Earth, and at this point we knew there were options. We could go somewhere else, and it was necessary to start leaving because some cataclysmic events were occurring. And so with Future Frontier, this set the tone for the album, but also what humanity was having to go through. So all right, I'm gonna mute myself and then we'll listen to the rest of it. So, all right, let's get my mic to stop being how it is. All right, see you guys in a bit. Well, that was easy. Quickest ever. Okay, I'm just going to go straight into the album projects themselves. Sometimes I've been having trouble with AIMP. It plays beautifully, does not pull the songs from their directory correctly all the time. Alright, so here we go. Now it's playing and we have no audio. No worries. Preferences. Any reason why? Well, while I'm working on this, direct sound. It's gonna have a direct sound. Sorry to scare you. Okay, we should be rolling now. Here we go. Alright, that was Future Frontier, and I just loved it from the very beginning. It was so good. I'm going to put this in the background of me. Why not? Okay. Future Frontier was that apprehension, that feeling of, oh boy, something new, something that we've never experienced before ever, having to consider leaving to a new frontier. We've had years of Manifest Destiny, other things like that, but this was a whole new realm. And with that comes the other side of the emotional coin, which was going to be New World, New Dreams. That song, it's uplifting because we knew that there's possibility, having the opportunity to do more and to expand, having new dreams of this isn't it. This isn't the only thing we have. Going forward and dreaming again about a new world, a new way to live. That was going to be the next big thing. So, without further ado, here's New World, New Dreams. Now wants to play. So yeah, New World, New Dreams. Next up is Leaving the Past Behind. To be frank, this is one of my favorites. I think across all the albums, this is one of my top three right here. This one came about knowing that this initial album, When We Leave, was going to be riddled with emotion, because who wants to leave? Leaving the Past Behind starts off with kind of a scene of downtown in a large city, some very ominous booms. There's cop cars flying past, a lot of alert sirens. You just get this kind of feeling that something's off, something's not right. The cataclysm has started on Earth, so things are happening. And so the next part is this emotionally releasing who we are, what we've had before, all the stress, anxiety, hurt, getting that out and getting that behind us. And with leaving the past behind, this is in some ways a retrospective piece from the folks that are on the ship, looking back and seeing and hearing and reliving some of those moments. So with that, here's leaving the past behind. Okay. And that was leaving the past behind. Again, I love it. It almost goosebumps every time I hear it, just because it's so passionate to me, the song itself, and I don't know, I just love it. There towards the very middle, when it pushes away from that chorus piece and it goes back into the verse, there's this one beautiful number of strings, a nice composition of strings that come in, and it just it makes my heart so happy to hear it, but also the very sad, the very melancholy style, and yeah, it's really good. I love it, but I don't know, it's sad. All right, next up, after leaving the past behind, was A Father's Legacy. Father's Legacy, it was kind of harkening back again to the time on Earth and the folks that were prepping and getting ready to leave for the stars, to leave their home behind, to leave all that they had. And for this case, A Father's Legacy was also this father teaching his son how to build, how to be prepared for the world after this. And one thing that the son had to do was learn how to do those things. Some of the percussion in that speaks of the father and the son working together and doing everything that was needed. And it was a twilight chapter in some ways too, because the father passes away before all this can really take place, and so the son has to pick up the mantle and do what his father taught him and do more and better so that he could leave and go to the stars. So in this, I give you A Father's Legacy. Another legacy. The last one in this was Celestial Sleep. I had this idea of, now that everyone's on the ships, plural, I don't know. It's going to take a lot to get everyone out there. Celestial Sleep was, obviously, these folks had never, ever had experience going to space, and especially for a long duration, because they weren't quite sure what the destination was, except for those who were in leadership. So the idea was, while they're traveling across this great expanse of space, to have ways to combat not being able to sleep properly, because let's face it, you're in a ship, your ship noises, that's it. Whereas here on Earth, a lot of us enjoy the sounds of nature or white noise of some kind. There's something to bring us home, to bring us a sense of belonging and security, and that wasn't going to happen in a ship. So the idea was to recreate some type of album that would allow their passengers to fall asleep and stay asleep. So Celestial Sleep came to be. All right, let's take a listen. celestial sleep. I did make sure to post in the live chat warning, may put you to sleep, because it can. It really can. And I know that album was so much fun. I just had to make more. And that's when this idea came about, to do at least like maybe like a three-part series, to kind of track the progression as people were leaving Earth, arriving on a new planet to colonize, to claim as their new home, to go from there, to see the civilization build back up again. So with that, I knew something else had to come of it. So I went ahead and created the next one, which was When We Arrive. That happened right after When We Leave launched, was straight into When We Arrive. So with that, I started to work and get everything prepped and ready. And I was super excited to see what was going to come of it. I knew this one was going to be more dark, in the sense of work had to be done. There were a lot of challenges to face. In fact, part of the big thing with When We Arrive was they got to the planet, did not know if it was inhabited yet or not, and what struggles were going to come with getting civilization back on track and on the right foot in a new place. So with that, I'd love to start with When We Rise, When We Arrive, and When We Rise. But when we arrive, this was very exciting. I'm going to get everything prepped, but we're going to have to take a short intermission because apparently my stream is not good enough. I was checking through the settings, and apparently my bitrate's super low. So I'm going to pause this for like just a little bit, and go from there. Let's see, Luke, thanks, man, for reaching out. Appreciate that so much. Love you and miss you too, man. It's been so long since we've all gotten together. COVID's really messed that up, but also our lives have gotten strangely more busy even during this time, but that can and will change because we still need to come together and have community and family. That needs to come first, for sure. I know the last couple months just taking care of these kiddos has been craziness. So anyway, with that, we're going to take a short intermission while I get these fixed. Gonna get another drink, and then we'll be set for a little while longer at least. All right, taking a pause. looks like I got the green thumbs up from YouTube finally. My bitrate was really low. I don't know what happened there. It's probably some type of preset. Anyway, so I did the little tweaks that it was saying for me to do, and we're just going to keep rolling with that. So next up here, when we arrive, it was a very purposeful album, trying to get everything prepared. And in this case, Prepare Now was the name of the first track, mostly because it was such a jarring piece when everyone was like, we're about to get on this planet, we have to make it happen. And everyone was preparing for that moment of touchdown. Let's see what we're up with here. So with no further ado, Prepare Now. That was Prepare Now. I'm going to do one more tweak setting. Now the audio stream bitrate is low, and I don't want that, especially when we're here for music. So, quick pause, hang tight, be right back. Hope we're coming back in now. It looks like everything's fine, I think. It's just a data issue, a suggestion that I came across. I put everything to the top max, so we should have good on all accounts. So don't worry, y'all, we're gonna be all right. Moving on, after Prepare Now, we had Survival. Survival was literally the hard work, putting forth, because now we have a new planet, a new set of issues to work with, and survival was exploration on this planet, just enough to get us on our feet, have security and safety be available. Lo and behold, we made some surprises along the way, but we're just going to listen to it and see the surprises for ourselves. All right, y'all. Okay. Survival ends with, wow, we have new problems, like creatures on this new planet that we have to be watching out for. So they were digging to create a shelter underground. It just so happens they got into some caverns. There's some creatures, pretty dangerous stuff. Good times. So after that, we learned that they're also not alone. What do you know about that? So I had to make some things happen. Real quick. Dang it. Okay. Thank you. Let's see everything. Okay. Next up is Blitzkrieg. Basically, we had to make some pretty major things happen because there was another group of either humans, alien race, that was also trying to converge on the same spot that this group was going to from Earth. So, believe it or not, the first war had to take place. So Blitzkrieg was, you don't have time to rest. You've come all this way from another planet to here, and now you must also face new enemies. So enjoy. Anyway, Blitzkrieg. Let's listen. Okay. Blitzkrieg. Moving into War of the Zone. Alright, next was our first memorial. Obviously, after every war, there's going to be something lost, missing, broken. And our first memorial was to be dedicated to those that had lost folks during this time, during Blitzkrieg, and what I guess a wake, a funeral on this new world was going to be like. So I mean, it's somber, but it was just what was needed during this time, especially on the album. Needed to have this. So here we go, our first memorial. So, our first memorial. Luke, thank you. That's one of my other favorites, at least from this album. Everything just harmonized so well, and I wanted to put that slide guitar and violin at the end just to give it some earth feel. I forgot there's some banjo too in there. You can kind of hear in the background. That was a lot of fun. But I felt like it really needed that personal touch of what we had on Earth. I apologize. Apparently I'm stuttering at this point. I keep hearing myself and I'm like, I don't have a lisp. I don't stutter often, but apparently I am. So, forgive me there. Next up is reciprocate. Reciprocate was the notion that after we had our first memorial and Blitzkrieg didn't just take care of our issues, we still had more work to do. But reciprocate was these other forces and us still going at it again. So reciprocate was taking it in turn again, going against our foes that we now have. So with that, Blitzkrieg Part 2, Reciprocate. All right. Coming back. Sorry. Had all my controls buried everywhere. Next up is Survival, the Reprise. I got into Survival and just knowing that it sounded like it wasn't done yet in some ways, so I wanted to do a reprise of something eventually. And just so happens, Survival sounded like the perfect choice. So, made that happen. It's a little bit longer than the original, obviously, but it's very melodic and really enjoyed it. So, I was just wanting to take all the elements and pieces that was in the original Survival and do something again with it. Break them down, build them back up. That was fun. So, I'm going to begin Survival, the Reprise, the the final piece to When We Arrive. And that is When We Arrive. That was a lot of fun. Travel reprise took quite a bit of time. Let's see, how long is it? Probably can't even get an estimate here, can we? Just about 4 minutes, but it's a little bit longer before I cut it. It was just so much fun. All right, kind of short list. In this one, I moved all the files over so I could keep track of where I was at. This is When We Rise, which was the third installment, and honestly, still a great album. Of course, in my book, but I wanted to have that moment of basking in our success, our triumph over all the adversities that we had. It kind of given us, even here on Earth, at the end of 2020, kind of some hope and some exhilaration, knowing that we went through all the things we did. Got to here. We made it. It's 2021. We got other things to do now. So for this, apogee was the beginning. Apogee throws again, harkens back to the beginning. I wanted to incorporate some of the older songs. So initially you'll hear a couple songs you're like, I feel like that was on another album. It sure was. I believe I've got Leaving the Past Behind and Blitzkrieg both make a short intro appearance, and then the rest of the song unveils into something new, brand new. All of these brand new, but the way it started was apogee, which apogee, the translation for that is at the climactic point, the highest point ever. So here we go with apogee. Apogee. Fun thing to note about, I think, two, if not three, three of these tracks have some elements that were not part of the sample libraries that I already had. Some of this I had to make. So I know in Apogee I had to bring in that organ that came in there towards the end. I didn't have anything for that, so I got the keyboard and got my VST instrument running, found just the right cathedral organ to move with, and had to make it happen. So honestly, Apogee had been in my head for so long, especially that climactic part of it. It was already there. I had mulled it over for months, and that was something too. After our daughter was born this summer, I knew between her and my, at that time, 13-month-old son, there wasn't going to be much time to even get some of this done. So I had to commit to memory everything I could. In my free time, I was able to at least get the ideas out, get the MIDI keyboard out, get some ideas just tinkering away, and save the projects for the moment, and then move on from there. And now we have When We Rise, and we're looking forward to here probably the next month or two having the final fourth album made as well. Next up is First Light. I envisioned this one honestly towards the end. I made Apogee, the land, the sky, and the sea kind of back to back. First Light actually happened towards the very end, but I knew that it had to happen earlier in the album. It needed to be placed there. This one is that moment when it's still dark in the world, but the sun is starting to rise, and the earth and all its inhabitants are ready to greet it. And of course, on our new planet, there might be two suns. I don't know. But for First Light, it was that anticipation, eager anticipation. I can't even say that word. Anticipation that the sun would rise and that we would have a brand new day ahead of us. But also that it's signaling the end of the day before, the night before. And so a little bit of somberness to it too. But anyway, I'll get out of the way. Time to listen to First Light. don't usually want to go back to very specific points in songs, but this one, the crescendo just is everything to me in this one. So I'm gonna raise my own volume so I can listen to it, but I just want to hear that last bit where it all gets higher up. Gives me chills. So much fun. All right, next. This was, even on Facebook, had a little bit of questionnaire. If you could do any of these things, what would you do on a new planet? Would you, like in this case, explore the land? I already had that down, but versus the sea, wow. Versus the sea or the sky, and the sky kind of won, so it was the land, the sky, the sea in order. And the land, obviously new place, new planet, having to traverse the landscape there. It's rough and challenging, so the land is next on this list. Hope you enjoy. the land. There, towards the middle of the track, I always envisioned that they were going through a very dense forest, and naturally, very little sunlight that comes through, and they come upon a clearing, and either spirits lifted and kind of reassess where they're going, get the directions right, and then try to figure out, can we keep going? But a little ominous too. The sky, since we were all traveling through space and arrived, the sky was going to be a little more lilting and airy, no pun intended. But the sky was, since it's known, familiar territory, and we felt more comfortable there. It's a comforting piece. So disconnects a little bit from the rest of the issues going across the topography of this new planet. So, with that, here's the sky. Oh, sorry about that. There we go. And next, the sea. Again, we're approaching unfamiliar-ish territory here. Obviously, plenty of seas back on Earth, but this one, believe it or not, also held a monster. So everyone had to kind of relearn how to be seafaring, at least on this new planet. And with that, there's some greater difficulties when there's another sea monster to deal with. And I wanted to go old school a little bit and bring in some exploring the seven seas concept here too. So it's a little nostalgic, but I had to have it. So anyway, here we go. The sea. said pause. There we go. So, the sea. I don't know. I had fun. It reminded me of how, let's see, back in when we arrive, how that transpired. Because then when we arrive, we had survival. And survival was, we don't like this, but we have to do it. And then they met a creature along the way. Had to take care of that. So, to me, it's very similar. No reprise on that song. But then I wanted to end off on a good note. I had this idea of kind of like a celebration at the end of this album, just saying, hey, look at all we've done, and we've finally succeeded. We've risen above. We've laid claim on this new planet. It's our home now. And so Jubilee was made with the idea of having a jubilation, celebration of everything that had been done to get where we are now. So with that, the last track to When We Rise, and for now, the final piece until the next album. So here we go. was Jubilee. My son, after I made this track, he was so excited to hear it. He was dancing in the other room the entire time. And after I got everything completed, I switched over the audio to the main 5.1 system, and he was fanatical. It was a sight to behold. I got some of it captured later on, but the first couple times honestly were priceless, and he was really stoked to hear the song. So in some cases, I call this his song. His sister was giggling and cracking up watching him, so she was excited that he was excited too. But yeah, it was the perfect cherry on top to this album for sure. So, time to celebrate as we get into this new year of ours. Get some Jubilee spirit going, because I know there's got to be some amazing things that are going to happen in 2021. One of those, at least on Colorblind Records side, is going to be the next project evolution of this. I've been streaming a few of the tracks recently. Nothing has fully completed yet, but some good stuff is happening. Real quick though, I do want to have a big shout out to my awesome and amazing wife, Emily. She has created and worked on all of these cover album pieces. This was the first one for When We Leave, When We Arrive, and When We Rise. Now, I was able to get most of these images from the awesome site Pixabay, because so many people have gone forward and made some commercial, royalty-free pieces of art to use. And so I grabbed some of these, and Emily worked on quite a few of them just to get them right, and then get all of the important info in the album name, my name, etc. And so the other part is eventually we're going to have part 4, which is When We Fall. That's going to be the final piece, and this is When We Fall, I wouldn't say backwards, but when we fall into the same issues that we dealt with on Earth, but here on a new planet, or when we fall off to the side because humanity is still reaching the end of its existence in this universe. So interpretation is going to be pretty high. Here's the image that I have so far, and Emily's going to go in and work on it. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun for sure. Let's see. Emily just also finished this one. I'm excited to let you know that I have started a extra project. I've always enjoyed synthwave, retrowave, anything that sounded like Tron, anything from the 80s. I really wanted to have some new pieces with that too, but I wasn't sure how to go about it. So what my plan is right now, anyone who follows the works in Colorblind Records on social media, here on the streams, or if you're listening to Spotify playlist and you have a song or two, if you get the message here, all the synthwave pieces are going to become royalty free. The plan is to at least have them uploaded on a few sites. I have Teespring open right now. They have been my go-to for the new merchandise, and I really wanted to get that rolling and out the door. So right now I've got a number of things for just all of the albums is listed here in Teespring. I want to get some of these negators, and then they also have these cloth masks. It's still going to be needed going forward, so I wanted to get some of those made. Got a really nice hoodie that I want to get myself. Emily also is working with me on getting another logo brand ready, so some of these shirts and bags and other miscellaneous things may change up a little bit. Definitely have the album art on those pieces still, but we're going to look at getting that logo and brand ready to put on some more of these pieces. I'm going to make a pretty good, I wouldn't say massive order of some initial pieces. Teespring keeps telling me, hey, you should get some product samples so you can try them out and wear your brand. I'm like, yeah, I should. It's not ready yet. I just had to get something rolling. So once that's all done, totally, there will be so many things being worn of all the albums. So yeah, stick around for that. But here is the artwork for the Synthwave project. This is going to be through Colorblind Records. I have a couple songs that are already prepped, and we just have to get them mixed down, ready to go, put on the appropriate sites. But I'm excited because this is going to be fun. Let me see if I happen to have. Yep, I have Cling to the Shadows is ready. Origins is close, I believe. Crossing the Vectors is the next one. It's getting really close too. So that one, once all three of those are ready and prepped, I'll just go ahead and release them onto probably Teespring and Facebook, etc., or at least get everything funneled to the right spot. Hey, calm down. Calm. Also got a new mic, and I've been trying to get it to behave itself. Hi, it's a great mic. Picks up everything, but then some. So, the Synthwave project, I'm gonna play Cling to the Shadows. It's a little louder, but it's like 5 whole minutes of this, and it's been awesome. I hope that these set the tone for this project as we go on. Not fully thought because of Cyberpunk and all that. I just wanted to make this anyway. I've loved synthwave and retrowave and everything from the 80s too in this genre. So anyway, let me play Cling to the Shadows for a little bit to cap off the night here, to show you what's to come as we go into 2021 here. Cling to the Shadows, beginning of the Synthwave project. Anyway, thank you all so much for the support and for taking the time to review some of the things that were in the works and ready to put out. I know this was a beautiful endeavor across this whole last year, and now we're into a whole new year, and I know things are just going to get more awesome, and obviously we might all get some sleep deprivation along the way. I'm trying to do better with myself on that, but anyway, we're going to make it happen. As my kids are getting older, they're more self-sufficient. That's going to help quite a bit. We've got some ideas in the works of getting our garage set up for office space, so get the entirety of it prepped and remodeled, really. Get some walls in there, and Emily and I will both have our own space within there, and we can move out of the very middle of our house right now. I always comment about it. I am currently next to the closet that has the air return for our furnace, and it's kind of loud sometimes. I try to keep everything to a minimum. When I work with mic levels, I try to balance it. It's hard to, because I'm also talking while my kids are asleep, and usually Emily's asleep too. So hopefully once we move over to having our offices out there, this will be exciting because we can do more. So on that note, thank you again for joining me on this awesome journey for the past year, and now going into a whole new year. I will bid you all adieu here. Please catch up with me through social media. Comment on any of the videos and streams. Make your voices heard, because I would love to have some collaboration with the folks that listen to this stuff quite a bit. And I really want this last of the When We series to be momentous. So we're going to have some crazy fun with When We Fall, and I will keep you guys up to date on where we stand on this next and final piece, this chapter close here. So with that, you all have a wonderful night. Get some rest. Listen to, if you need something, listen to Celestial Sleep. Listen to our first memorial. Listen to even Jubilee, First Light, whatever it takes to get you to sleep. I do want to make a sleep album. Really have enjoyed working with some of the very soft pads and ambient tracks and samples that have come along the way, and I got to do something with this keyboard that of mine. 60 keys are not going to play themselves, so I want to make some live pieces as well, and it'll really happen when we get the garage fixed up. So anyway, I could go off for a while and ramble, but I'm not going to do that, because eventually I need to sleep too. So with that, I'm going to end this stream. Thank you all. Have a great night and a great start to this new year. And we'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.